My name is Daniela Gerget-Gualdi and I am the Artistic Director for Ronald Sachs International Music Competition. We are proud to present to you a series of interviews with our finalists. Hi, Dexter.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I'm very excited to get a chance to talk to you in person, learn a little bit more about you.
Hi everyone. My name is Dexter Doris. I'm 15 years old and I live in Hartsdale, New York. I go to school at the Juilliard Pre-College Division in New York City, and I study
Wow.
with my teacher, Dr. Ann Setzer. And she has studied and served as a teaching assistant to Ivan Galamian, who is
Oh,
one of
wow.
very important figures in classical music. So yeah, that's where I go to school. For academic school, I go to the Keystone National High School, and it is online. I do homeschooling, and I believe that it has helped me to kind of get a good place in my education because the one thing that I want to pursue in my life is music.
Why violin? Why did you pick violin to be your instrument? How did that happen?
I chose violin because I thought that, it was just right for me. I wanted to show other people that there was something much more to classical music than they'd been seeing. And so I thought that if I played the violin, that might happen.
Did somebody introduce you to this instrument? Are your parents musicians or?
No, actually, my parents are not musicians. Well, if you talk to my dad, he can make a few claims that he's played the trumpet not too bad back in his day in high school. But yeah, my mother, she wasn't forced to do anything, but as part of, so I started out with the Suzuki program, as most musicians, do. And for my specific school that I went to at the time, so I started when I was 4 years old, so that means that I would have been in pre-kindergarten. So the parents had to play with the child as, I guess, to I don't know, encourage them to practice a lot more or so. And the problem is that my mother isn't the best reader and she can't really see the music too well.
Mhm.
Um, so she kind of, it was really hard for her and I felt bad for her. But, even though that happened, I still didn't give up and I just kept practicing. And yeah, I mean, it
So,
led.
how old were you? You mentioned pre-kindergarten. How old were you when you started with your instrument? Suzuki students tend to be very, very young.
Yes, they do. But I started actually when I was about 4 years old. But actually, I've been asking to play violin ever since I was about three.
So, could you tell us a little bit more about your so far accomplishments in your career through this 10, 11 years that you've been playing the instrument? Is there something that you're really proud of or that you would like to share with us?
Well, I have something actually that happened pretty recently. So this was kind of in November of 2019. So so here's just a little bit of backstory. People kind of need it to understand why I'm.
Absolutely. Yes. Go ahead.
So I go to the Meadowmount School of Music. So that's, you may have heard of it. Some of you may have if you're watching this. It's a camp in upstate New York, and I've been there for about almost 7 years. And that's a pretty long time. That's almost half of my life. So I've been going there for, like you could say for half of my life. So while I was there, last particular summer, I was working on Saint-Saëns' third violin concerto, which also happens to be my favorite. And so while I was there, I had a really, really hard time figuring out how to practice or how I should work on certain spots to be able to, to play it pretty well. Because that year, my teacher gave me the opportunity of doing a recital. And recitals there are basically where you play in front of your peers. And, sometimes they'll record it and they usually post it up on their YouTube channel, which you can check out if you search for the Metamont School. You should do it sometime. It's nice. The kids that are featured on there are very, very talented, wonderful children. I know them very, very well. But anyway, so I played my recital, and it was really hard. I had a lot of self-doubt and stuff, but I felt like I managed to pull it off. And after that performance I gave, my confidence, went from here to here. It was a lot better. So, flashback later to about November or so.
Mhm.
So I won the 2019 Sound Symphony competition. And the Sound Symphony is basically a symphony that plays in Long Island. And what makes them really special is that they are a community orchestra, meaning that, they do it because they want to play music and, because they love to do it. So I got the opportunity to play all of Saint-Saëns' third violin concerto with them. And, so we had a few rehearsals, and eventually, the huge day came where I had to play with them. And, was I nervous a little bit? Yes. There are people in that audience, and people can be cruel sometimes. You never know who you're gonna, be playing for. But I always remember that if you really look inside yourself and you tell yourself that I am doing this because I want to do it, then everything is going to be okay. And so I played the whole concerto. I played, my favorite violin concerto with a good orchestra. And so, that day was probably one of the best days of my life, and I couldn't really ask for more.
Congratulations.
Thank
Do
you.
you have a recording of this performance?
I
Is
do.
someone?
I do actually, and you can find it on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel if you would like to. It's open to all viewers, students, teachers, whatever. All are welcome. And it's simply just Dexter Doris Violin. And there you can find, all different sorts of videos.
But can you tell us, like, how much do you practice a day? Is the talent the only thing, or you really work hard towards your success?
Okay, well, to start off to answer your question, I practice as much as I can. It varies basically on a different day-to-day schedule. And, I really, in my practice, I really don't think it's about the quantity, but I really think it's about the quality. You know, People say this all the time to me. I'm constantly asked, well, how much do you practice? What do you practice? Where are you when you practice sometimes? But what I tell them, I'm saying this now, and I usually say this to everyone else, but I say that like, you could be doing like 3 hours a day, which is, what a lot of kids my age tend to practice. That's how long they usually practice. And, they could be doing, just like, they could be taking a lot of breaks in it. And they could say that they've practiced for 3 hours to anybody and they would believe them. But that's not, I don't really feel like that's, a good thing. I feel that like being very productive and, really planning out before you practice, like what you want to work on, even if it's just like one spot of a piece that lasts for like 10 seconds. That's like something that you can improve on. And so that's usually what I try to do. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I usually try to shoot for 5 hours a day.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the competitions. I believe this is not the first competition that you have applied for. And why do you think that competitions are important? And also, why did you apply for Ronald Sachs competition, and how did you hear about us?
So this is interesting. So To answer the first part of your question, so this is not, you're right, this is not the first time I've applied for a competition, but, I think that competition is good. Healthy competition, anyway, is good for not just violinists, but basically, all musicians, all of their disciplines, like viola, cello, bass, even brass sections, wind sections, percussion, you name it. It can be anything. But, I do competitions because I like to travel. I believe in the zodiac, so I'm a Sagittarius, and Sagittarius people, we like to travel. That's all we like to do. And so we feel that the more we go to places, the more that kind of the more that fuels our energy. So basically, I don't know. I really love traveling. And so, it's not just that, but also like to play in front of people, I feel is really good. I think that a lot of the times, people may be concerned about, like winning a certain thing, but I really look at it as an opportunity to play for people that are successful in the industry and that, that have distinguished careers and, just the overall experience of it is kind of what I look for most in a competition.
What was the biggest competition so far that you won?
I think that one of the biggest ones that I won was the New York State Music Teachers Association competition,
Mhm.
and the reason why I think that was because I was competing against people from everyone from New York, and New York is a very very competitive state.
When you prepare for the competition, how do you choose your program and how long does it take you, or for recital, how long does it take you to prepare?
I choose what I play on competitions, kind of just more or less what I've had experience with the most. I try to choose for things that make the judges feel a certain way. In my opinion, I feel that, being able to like share your side of the story and to showcase, your own talents and not try to copy, anyone else's. So I choose pieces that I feel really, you know, showcase what I'm capable of doing.
Mhm.
So yeah, and for recitals, it's kind of just the same thing. Sometimes in recitals though, I'll include stuff that I don't really feel should be played at a competition sometimes. I mean, it depends on competition to competition, but you know, um, I usually would like to play, some solo Bach. I feel that Bach is very important to play for any recital. It's very good practice and it is very good to play for an audience. I'm a huge Bach fan.
So what is your program for the Ronald Sachs competition? What are you going to play for us in May?
So I'm going to be playing the first movement of Prokofiev's second violin concerto. And I am very excited about playing it because Prokofiev is, he's an amazing composer.
Can you tell us a little bit on a different side of you? Um, you have told us a little bit about your career and what you like to play and what kind of musician you are, but in your free time, what takes your attention? Do you have any hobbies? Is there a different type of genre music that you like to listen?
Well, I mean, being the person that I am, I think that classical music is kind of just my go-to. You can catch me like, if a person sees me anywhere, they can usually catch me with like my earphones and like jamming to like Vivaldi's, like concerto for multiple instruments, or like you can find me like listening to like any Bach fugue that, comes to mind. You could even like find me listening to like, the wackiest stuff ever that's not even it's not even like any of today's genres. So, to answer the other part of the question, this kind of falls into it too. So I am obsessed with ancient history. I and mythology too. I believe that it's very I believe that it's very important for people to understand like the people that came before us, what they did for us. As I said, I love music. It's just always been a part of me. We live and we breathe music. Musicians, we can kind of share that as a whole at the competition, for example. Like, everyone just, yeah, I don't know, they don't remember, but like, just basically we're all in this together. We signed up for the same thing. So, yeah, we're here to entertain and to bring joy to the world, and we do that through our music. We want to make it a better place. And so I hope that for for the rest of my career as a musician, that's, all I want to do. That's the number one thing that I really want to strive for, is just making the world a better place through my music.
Oh, that is a wonderful thought.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Dexter, so much for this
Thank you.
interview. And we appreciate you, and we appreciate your willingness to participate in the finals, even though they will take place online rather than in Wilmington. But we are looking forward to hear you in a few weeks. So good luck. Stay healthy, please. Stay well.
Stay inside.
And take care. Have a great day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Dexter.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.